Trophy hunters of Cecil the lion in Zimbabwe. That was in 2015. At the time, the British government pledged to ban the import of such trophies like the head, skin or tusks. Now the Environment Secretary Michael Gove says he's cautious about doing so, at least at the moment. In an interview for Five Live's podcast, Beast of Man, presented by former England cricketer Kevin Pietersen, Mr Gove said he'd been advised by wildlife charities against the immediate outlawing of imports of such items.
I think that there is growing momentum for the law to change, but what I don't want to do is to get ahead, and I think there's a broad public consensus behind it, but I don't want to be, as I mentioned to Kevin earlier, in a position where I am running so far in advance of what other charities and other leaders want that we risk the good relationship that's been built up over time. And I think, like so many areas of campaigning, it's partly a process of education, it's partly a process of dialogue. And also, if particular communities have got used to deriving income from hunting, you don't want to seem as though you're basically saying we're, taking your livelihood away.
Let's talk now to Eduardo Gonzalez, who is the founder of the Campaign to Ban Trophy Hunting, and Diggory Haydock, who's been on several trophy hunts and writes about them. Eduardo, first of all, what do you say to Michael Gove?
Well, I think he should be taking leadership on this issue because Britain actually has a lot of responsibility for what's going on. It's actually one of the worst countries in the world when it comes to elephant trophy hunting and also the killing of caged lions. So lions that have been bred for the bullet and are shot in enclosures.
But you heard his argument. Do you just not buy that at all?
Trophy hunting isn't conservation. Conservation is when wildlife is more valuable to us alive than it is dead. And I frankly find it rather suspicious when I hear particularly trophy hunters invoke the argument about conservation. Because at the end of the day, they're not involved in this sport because they want to conserve wildlife.
Let's
enjoy killing wildlife.
Okay, let's ask one. Diggory Haydock, thanks for talking to us. Do you enjoy killing wildlife?
Well, it's a very pejoratively phrased question, isn't it?
What's the answer?
Well, the answer is you're focusing on the killing element as if that's all that anybody's interested in.
Do you enjoy the killing element? That's what I'm asking.
Hunting is an all-encompassing thing. I enjoy hunting whether I kill anything at the end of it or not.
Do you enjoy the act of killing, though?
No, the act of killing is an incidental part of a whole wider lifestyle thing. If it was just killing, it's very easy to go and kill things, but we don't do that. We value the animals, the ecosystems, and the populations. People that are in have a much closer relationship with the animals that we interact with, and we actually want to see sustainable populations lasting for years and years.
How does that work then? Just explain the link between killing and what you say is conserving.
Well, let me give you an example of the Tajikistan markhor. This was an animal that was being poached to the verge of extinction. It's now recovered very well, and the numbers have increased threefold since managed hunting licenses were issued for a small number of people to come out and hunt a manageable number of animals. And
so what is the link? What is the link?
These animals are improving in number in their natural habitat only where hunting is the strategy for bringing money in and protecting them, because you pay the locals. Your other guest said quite rightly that animals only have a value. The animals only survive when they have a value. Now,
right. Well, let me go back to Eduardo Gonzalez. Sorry, Eduardo Gonzalez. There's no point in us talking over each other. I'm so sorry, Eduardo Gonzalez. You've just been given an example about a particular species of animal. The numbers have increased as a result, says Diggory Haydock, of managed hunting. How do you respond?
Yeah, I sometimes hear these incidental examples. There was actually a major...
No, well, just deal with that. It may be incidental or not. Those are the figures that Mr Haydock has given us. Do you accept them?
No, I don't, and I'll tell you why. Because there was a major US congressional study that was published in 2016. It looked at all the scientific evidence and the claims that have been made by trophy hunters about whether trophy hunting was actually contributing to conservation. and it concluded that there was very little, if any, evidence whatsoever of any benefits at all. And what we have to remember is two things. One is that the amount of trophy hunting that goes on is absolutely colossal. 1.7 million animals were taken by hunters for so-called sport in the last 10 years. And it's not just the numbers that we're talking about, it's the types of the animals. Because trophy hunters like to go, for example, for lions with the most impressive manes, for elephants with the most impressive tusks. What they're doing is they're taking the most important, the fittest, the strongest animals out of the gene pool. So
all right, well, let me get a response, if I may, from Mr. Haydock. Go ahead.
Okay, that's factually incorrect. I mean, first of all, the first point you made was he's dismissing. You ask for evidence, I give you evidence. He dismisses evidence. So I'll quote Namibia. In Namibia in the 1980s, it was virtually devoid of game. They've now brought in managed hunting concessions as a way of proliferating that game, and it's now massively successful. Namibia is now full of wild animals because local people have control and strict quotas are put down. Now, in order to maintain long-term populations of animals, we're interested in the habitat and the sustainability of the populations. So, for example, if you have a large population of, say, buffalo, let's say you've got 10,000 buffalo on a managed concession, you protect those buffalo, you stop the poaching, you stop the bush meat trade, you shoot off, say, 5% surplus, the buffalo herd will regenerate naturally at 25% a year. So in 20 years, you have not only a sustainable ecosystem, you've got more buffalo.
Thank you. We're going to leave it there. Thank you very much, both of you. We really appreciate your time. Thank you very much. And the first two episodes of the 5 Live podcast, Kevin Peterson, Beast of Man, are out right now on BBC Sound, and there's another one coming this Friday. Harry and Meghan's baby boy